Hey everybody, TNH Outdoors asked me if I'd like to do some gear reviews of their gear, and one of the items here they provided me, actually there's two items, and I've done a gear review on a sleeping pad, and this is the second one that intrigued me that I said I'd like to do a review on. This is a two-person tent that's designed for camping and backpacking. It is, by the photograph online, very similar to the Big Agnes Fly Creek UL2 that I used, as far as it looks like the footprint and design and entry and everything. One big difference is the launch price on this right now is $70. So if you don't use this for backpacking, anybody out there that's a scouter and is a quartermaster and responsible for re-outfitting their scout troop with tents, big foot stomp here, this might be a great opportunity for you to do some tent replacement at a very good price. So all right, let's begin to break this down and see how she does. The stuff sack is quite substantial, plenty of room in it to be able to put the tent back in. You know, so was the Big Agnes when I first bought it, but once you unroll a tent, it never seems to compress the same. So I would suspect that that stuff sack will probably be used in its entirety for that. So of course the big question is, you know, how much does it weigh? And I can tell you from just picking it up that this is not an ultralight tent, you know, especially when you're looking at the Big Agnes and things like that. And that is 4 pounds 5.5 ounces. I don't know if you can quite see that or not down there. Alrighty, so let's pull this apart and see what the stakes are. Okay, I've got some squawky birds overhead. Sorry about that. When you open this up, of course, you've got your poles, and there's at least 2 hubs here that I see. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a freestanding tent. That would be a real plus over my Big Agnes. You've got some guy line. You have a splice in case you break a pole, which is kind of nice. The tent stakes are not bad. They're 3-sided. They're actually not that heavy, but there's 14 of them. So by the time you get all those together, there's actually a little bit of weight to them. And I've got my scale over here. Let's see how much these come out to, all of those stakes. That is 5 3/4 ounces. And let me go get my bag of carbon core stakes and show you what the difference can be if you just change out the stakes. Okay, so for my Gossamer Gear tent right now, my setup is 8 carbon core stakes at 1 3/4 ounces, and then for the ends 2 of my groundhogs. So there's 2 3/4 ounces. So you could save a little bit by just switching out the tent stakes. All right, let me go set up this tent and let's see what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, it's actually a freestanding tent. I have it staked anyway, but all 4 corners are pulled out with the frame there, and has a large opening, very well vented. You know, my Big Agnes, halfway up that front door, it's got sill nylon, so it's only got about half vent at the top. Very well vented on the sides and the top there, so you should get good airflow for condensation control. It's like you've got one pocket there on the inside, on that side, and another one on that side. And what I like about this is it really is a 2-person tent. There's this foot box. In other words, it's a square footprint, unlike the Big Agnes. It tapers at the bottom. It really would make it hard to put 2 people in. You could probably actually put 2 people on this one if you need to. A person and a dog would go very nicely. Plenty of gear, plenty of space for a single person with your pack in there and everything. So I don't know if you could put 2 packs and 2 people in, but anyway, that's what it looks like without the Rainfly. And let me get the Rainfly installed. So the Rainfly is on, and here's my thought. As is, I think because of the vestibule here, you could probably delete the stakes on the corner here. You probably want to still keep the ones on the back, just because when you pull this out, it's going to want to pull the tent up a little bit. So 4 stakes probably is a minimum, just to get it pitched like this. But the Rainfly is right up against the mesh on the inside. Okay, and I'll show you that. Which means you're not going to get really any good airflow, so you're going to have a lot of condensation issues, just like if it were a single wall tent. I think we're going to have to put out some of the guides. There's a little bit of room there, but I think we're going to have to for sure pull it out. It looks like in the back there's something that can help prop open that back vent, so I'll take a look at that. So let me go ahead and tie out the ties and see how this looks. I put some of the tie outs out here. You see I've got the short one here down at the bottom, this long one. I've got 2 long ones left and 2 short ones, and I think the 2 long ones are either going to be, you got 4 more tie outs which are for wind. You got 1 here on each corner, okay, and then you got 2 back here. So depending upon which way the wind's from, you can put those long tie outs on and stake it out against the wind. Okay, the other 2 short ones, I'm going to assume the other one goes down here where that little pole is, and the other one goes right there. This is what I'm thinking. If I'm trying to save some weight, what I might do is replace that. If I replace that short one with one of the long ones, and I can run over here, I can share the stake, and I can eliminate a stake from the requirement. To do it on the other side, that's 2 stakes I can save. See, I think we said that we need to keep the corners here, but we could lose that corner, so there could be 4 stakes we could save very easily in our weight if we wanted to reduce some weight, and just run a long one over to this other side. So I'm going to do that on the other side and see what it looks like, and then we'll go take a look on the inside. I've got the short and the long. On this side I went ahead and put the extra long one that I had and shared a stake, and I did the same thing on this side where I'm sharing the stake, and I think that way we can eliminate some extra stakes in our kit here. And by the way, plenty big vestibule. And now, yeah, see the sides are much more pulled away from the side, and we'll have a much better ventilation here. Okay, I'm gonna leave it set up overnight and see how it does. I have to make sure I turn my sprinklers off though, because I pull water out of the lake, and you know, lake water is lake water, it's not fresh water. So anyway, we'll see how this does tonight with some of the grass out here. It's relatively, ground's relatively wet because we had rain a couple of days ago. So all right, I like it, especially for the price point. What about you, Millie? Do you like it too, huh? All right, everybody, we'll see you later. Okay, so it's been pitched about 3 days. I checked it out this morning, and it was about as taut as it was when I pitched it, so it maintained its form pretty well. Then we finally got some rain, about 1.25 inches in just slightly under 2 hours, so it was have a pretty good hard rain. One thing that I didn't think to look at before this very moment is whether or not the seams came factory sealed. It doesn't say in any of their online descriptions that they do, and I didn't think to take a look at that. So let me open up the door here and let's look inside. Okay, I'm inside the tent. Some of the water that did come in when I opened it up is from the process of getting in. Same design as my fly creek, so it's hard to keep the water out once you open that fly to the vestibule. And the vestibule fly looks about the same size as my fly creek. There isn't any moisture on the inside of the tent. There is some evidence of some splashback, which is going to occur anyway. That's going to be normal. Now, as far as any drips, I don't see any drips upon the screen here at all. Okay, but what I do see is I do see light penetrating through some of the stitching in the back here. It may not pick up on the camera. I would definitely seam seal this fly though, okay? So that's something I'd definitely do. Something I didn't know when I set it up is there's actually a tie there where you can tie that fly to the poles to give it some more stability in high winds. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. I don't think my Fly Creek has that. Other than that, the bathtub is in 2 parts, and it does look like it's been factory taped. Okay, so that's good, and that goes all the way up the side. I'd go ahead and probably do some seam seal. Maybe not on the bathtub, but for sure the Rainfly I think needs to have some seam sealer done to it. Other than that, I think it's a great tent. There's a lot of toe box space down here, so it really is going to be a 2-person tent. Maybe no gear, but for sure 2 people. So, all right, I give this. Oh, and there's a little gear hook up there too. See that, where you can hook a headlamp on? So that's a nice little additional feature. So, all right, everybody. So this is the 2-person tent from TNH Outdoors, and the current price point on their launch is $70. So hey, Scoutmasters out there, you might want to think about this for a refresh. Okay, I have a few afterthoughts. One, I think it's a great design. I like the fact that it is a true freestanding with the poles going to each corner on the back, and that it's actually has a square footprint. That makes it more utilitarian as a true 2-person tent. And it does have the coffin, entrance. There's a lot of people that sometimes don't like that. They prefer the side entrance. For anybody buying this, I recommend that you go ahead and get some graphite and put that on the zippers. The zippers tend to be really hard to open and close when the tent is fully taut. That's something I would recommend. To the company, I would recommend, and maybe you've done it and I just missed it, but a footprint for this tent that allows it to do the kind of the fast pack option, where you leave the tent behind and you just take the fly, the poles, and the footprint, and you can use it that way. Especially in areas we don't have to worry about bugs, or times of year we don't have to worry about bugs, and that might save a little bit of weight and make it a little more utilitarian for more of a lightweight a backpacker going a little bit more long distance. So other than that, I would seam seal the fly on the inside of the stitching. There was some light that was poking through in some of the stitching. Put some graphite on the zippers. Company think about putting a tarp or a footprint together that's got the grommet, so you can use it as a kind of a fast pack option. And other than that, I think it's a great tent. Like I said, my recommendation is you can save a stake by doing this kind of a stakeout versus this kind of stakeout, which means getting a little bit extra line. Other than that, I think it's a great product, especially for the current launch price of $70. And once again, if you're involved in scouting out there and you've got a troop that needs to refresh their tents, hey man, I would take a serious look at this quickly before the price goes up. The company hasn't told me what their final price point is going to be on this after their launch. So if you're interested in this, hey, even for some Christmas presents for some grandkids or something, this is a great deal right now. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the review. Take care. Bye.